Details in the Avengers you'll only notice in slow motion. To this day, Avengers 1 is considered as one of the best superhero movies ever made. It is so good because of the insane amount of hard work that was put into making the film. It packs so many details which you'd only be able to gather if you watch the film in slow motion. So here are all the details that we found out by slowing the movie down. Ravens. When Thor arrives and takes Loki away from the Quinjet, we see them talk about the Tesseract. But did you notice how 2 ravens flew by them? These ravens are presumed to be none other than Hugin and Munin. They were spotted besides Odin in Thor. The Allfather uses them to monitor Earth. Through them, Odin was seemingly watching over his 2 sons. The helicarrier. Upon noticing how the helicarrier vanished with its cloaking technology, we could state that this was possibly inspired by Marvel's Kree ship. Moving on, Steve was just as surprised as we were upon seeing the helicarrier, so the $10 were on point. But did you notice the look on his face when he saw how much power S.H.I.E.L.D. had? They were literally spying on people all over the world to locate Loki, Barton, and Eric Selvig. This power of S.H.I.E.L.D. was then misused by Hydra, and that's when Steve's fears almost came true. Anyway, while Steve and Coulson were talking, all the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, including Sitwell, were running facial recognition. And that's how they got a match on Loki in Germany. Cap the Liberator.
Last time I was in Germany and saw a man standing above everybody else.
When Captain America shows up to fight Loki in Germany, did you look at the people's reaction as he walked by them? In slow motion, you'll notice how people started to stand up when Cap passed them. This detail showed how Cap was the liberator for Loki's subjugation. Iron Man vs. Thor. During Tony's fight against Thor, he got headbutted, which left a clear dent on his helmet. I'm pretty sure that you may not have noticed this tiny detail in regular speed. Tony's heads-up display. In Iron Man 2, the Mark V suit was damaged by Vanko's electrical whips. But Tony turned that disadvantage into an advantage with his next suit. When Thor struck him with his lightning, the suit absorbed energy from it. In fact, Thor overcharged his suit, bringing his power capacity to 475%.
Power at 400% capacity.
How about that?
Later, when Stark fixed the rotors on the helicarrier, his HUD showed 312% power. So, to fight Thor and keep the helicarrier afloat, Tony used up almost 2 suits worth of energy. After that, when Stark noticed the Chitauri appearing from the portal above Stark Tower, his HUD immediately switched from normal to offensive mode. Later, when the nuclear warhead approached New York, the HUD showed that the missile had a 33 blast mile radius. And the HUD also displayed the constant countdown of when the missile was going to blow. Marvel really puts a lot of work into Iron Man's HUD, so kudos to them. The nuke. Another detail that I'd like to point out is that when the nuke was launched, the pilot said that it was going to blow within 150 seconds.
Packages sent. Detonation in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Mark.
And that's what happened in real time. The nuke took exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the film's screen time to destroy the Chitauri mothership. Banner Hulk. Calling Hulk as Bruce Banner really angers him. Avengers 1 laid the groundwork for this. After his transformation, when Nat referred to Hulk as Bruce, he attacked her. But later when Cap told Hulk to smash, he cooperated.
Hulk. Smash.
This was seen throughout the MCU. In Age of Ultron, Nat called him the big guy and the lullaby worked. But while fighting Hulk, Tony called him Banner, and 2 when he was already in rage mode.
That little witch is messing with your mind. You're stronger than her. You're smarter than her. You're Bruce Banner. Right. Don't mention puny Banner.
So it had to make him even angrier. The same happened in Thor Ragnarok, as Thor referred to Hulk as Banner.
Hey, Banner!
No Banner, only Hulk!
What are you doing? It's me!
He was smashed like a puny god by the Green Rage monster. Hulk likes to separate his identity from Banner, and that has always been the case. Tony the Spy. We noticed that Tony placed a bug upon the helicarrier to find out all of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s dirty secrets. While Natasha was talking to Loki and Steve looked for what S.H.I.E.L.D. was up to, Stark was trying to get into S.H.I.E.L.D.'s servers. That's when his virus was detected by Agent Hill and Nick Fury. It prompted a heated conversation between all important members present on the helicarrier. And this conversation was further intensified by the presence of the Mind Stone, which brought out the worst in all of them. The Tesseract nullified the scepter. Thankfully for the Avengers, Bruce Banner's search was able to pick up the gamma radiation of the Tesseract in time. The computers picked up the cube's location and stopped a catastrophe. So in hindsight, the Space Stone stopped the argument which was instigated by the Mind Stone. Also, what we didn't notice in regular speed was that Banner and the Avengers were able to figure out the Tesseract's location right before the explosion. That's how Banner and all other Avengers knew that they had to gather at the Stark Tower. When Tony reached the Stark Tower, he entered the building with his hands at the back. He was trying to distract Loki from the fact that he wasn't wearing any bracelets when he came in. That's how he was able to sneak those bracelets without Loki suspecting his ploy. And yes, the Tesseract nullified the Mind Stone once again when Loki tried to put Tony under his control. You see, Howard Stark built his arc reactor-based research from the Tesseract, so Tony's arc reactor is also based on that research. Thus, the Tesseract indirectly stopped the scepter once again. Hawkeye's weapons. Hawkeye's recurve bow has these buttons that help him choose his trick arrows. As he presses a button on his bow, his quiver attaches a different tip upon an arrow. He used a thermal arrow to burn a Chitauri flying cart. When Nat asked for help against Loki, you must have noticed that Clint was looking at him. But in slow-mo, you'd realize that at this moment, he pressed a button to activate an explosive arrow. That's how he outsmarted Loki and even the audience. I'd like to take a moment to point out Hawkeye's amazing burst shot arrow, which had a secondary attack that took down multiple soldiers. Clint's battle tactics. Right when Thor landed on the ground to tell Cap about the cube, look at what Hawkeye was doing in the background. We've always joked about what Hawkeye does when he runs out of arrows. Well, here's the answer. When you slow the speed down, you'd see that he was actually recollecting all the arrows that he shot at the Chitauri soldiers. We saw this again when Hawkeye's quiver was fully empty. He grabbed an arrow from a nearby Chitauri soldier. Then, he pressed the button on his bow to switch to grappling mode. The tracking shot. During the final battle, Joss Whedon placed an amazing tracking shot which showed how all the Avengers were working together to take the Chitauri down. When Iron Man moved towards Captain America, all eyes were on him. But when you watch the film in slow-mo, you could actually notice Cap's insane battle moves. He jumped on a car, threw his shield at a Chitauri soldier, then caught it mid-air only to punt down another soldier. Right after that, Tony helped Cap take more soldiers down, and he flew off to throw all other soldiers that were climbing towards Hawkeye. The whole shot was beyond amazing. Shwarma Palace. We've all witnessed the post-credit scenes where the Avengers go to have shwarma. But did you notice that the Shwarma Palace also shows up during the battle?
You ever tried shawarma? There's a shawarma joint about 2 blocks from here. I don't know what it is, but I want to try it.
In fact, Tony probably noticed it when he crash-landed after recreating the tale of Jonah from the Bible.
Jarvis? You ever hear the tale of Jonah?
I wouldn't consider him a role model.
The Avengers Tower. At the end, when Tony shows Pepper the hologram of a new Stark Tower, not only did we see a parking slot for a Quinjet, but we also saw all the individual Avenger files. This was a major tease for the Avenger Towers as the movie ended with a big A on the screen. Thanos. Even with the little cameo of Thanos, we noticed how his motivation foreshadowed. The dialogue of the other was actually referencing Thanos' love for the comics Lady Death.
To challenge them is to court death.
But his plans to wipe out half of the living population of the entire universe was foreshadowed by a half-wrecked planet in the back. So this showed how Marvel was planning the snap about 6 years in advance. Setups for the Loki series. Tony said that there's no version where Loki could come out on top.
There is no version of this where you come out on top.
But in Endgame, he himself became the reason for Loki to run away with the Tesseract. And the second plausible setup for Loki came when he was speaking to the other. The other said that if Loki hid the Tesseract from Thanos, there won't be any place in the universe where he could hide.
If you fail, if the Tesseract is kept from us,
Thanos would hunt him down and make him feel his wrath. Now Loki ran with the cube in Endgame. We suspect that Thanos could be coming for him in his series. This is where all the details from the Avengers end.
We're not finished yet.
Some of these details were pointed out by the Canadian lad who did an awesome job on his Avengers video. But apart from those, we've added some new details that we picked up as well. So we hope that you enjoyed the video and were able to learn something new. If you liked the video, then leave a thumbs up and do subscribe to our channel for more exclusive content.